Thank you for joining us today. For as long as many people can remember, Project Feed the Thousands has been the community's food drive during the last couple of months of the year. This is the 25th, that's right, the 25th food drive. And with us to discuss the history and where we are now, current co-chair Kelly Corbeil and co-founder George Haynes. Thank you both. And George, my, what a long, strange trip it's been. How would you compare number one with what we're doing now?
Oh, it's a huge difference. Back in 1994, when Larry and I co-founded Project Feed the Thousands, it wasn't Project Feed the Thousands, it was Project Feed the Thousand. And there were only about 1,000 people in our area that were in need of food. If you fast forward today, 25 years later, you're talking about almost 25,000 people. And the difference in that first campaign, we had the ingenious idea of parking a tractor trailer in the bank parking lot, the Brattleboro Savings Loan, where I was president then. And we said, well, we'll fill the truck and we'll have people bring food to the bank. Actually, we should have had them bring money to the bank and food dropping off at the grocery stores, which is what we did in the second year and as we move forward. So the logistics from the first year were a little different, but the need was always the same, greater now, and we're talking about feeding hungry people in our area. So that's the big thing.
The other big change over the years has been that while Project Feed the Thousand focused on one food shelf, this year we're focusing on 9.
Exactly. Shows the part of the increase in the need. And so as things have moved along, we always keep thinking that we're going to get our arms around it and we'll raise enough food and money, but each year the need gets greater. One thing I want to comment on, which is we go back to the beginning when we decided to do Project Feed the Thousands. I was looking for an event that we could do on an annual basis, and Larry said, "Oh yeah, we could do a food drive, hungry people." And I said, "Well, what are you talking about? Are you talking about homeless people or people that live under the bridge, the Hinsdale Bridge?" And he said, "No. I just did an interview with Melinda Busno this past summer at the Harmony parking lot for a WIC distribution, and you should see the people that actually need the food. Young mothers, and so went to the drop-in center, and that's where my eyes were opened, and we saw that we're talking about young mothers and young families. We're talking about elderly people. We're talking about veterans, and so that's really how Project Feed the Thousands was born. And it was something that we wanted to do, not a one-time shot, not just a one-time food drive, but we wanted to do something on an annual basis that would benefit the community. And actually the model in my mind at the time was the Reformer Christmas stocking that had been so successful and been done year after year. So that was our original vision.
And Kelly Corbeil, you've been around for a number of years now as the co-director. What has been the recent experience and how does this year differ?
Well, yeah, I've done it for a number of years now, and it's just unfortunate, like George was saying, how I feel like for whatever reason the need keeps growing, but at the same time I feel like every year we have a lot more participants and a lot more people that are willing to give. So I just think over the years it's become such a well-known name that is very helpful to all the food shelves because of that. So the marketing mechanism behind it, it is quite awesome, actually, of getting the word out, like BCTV and the radio stations and the newspapers, and there's a lot of media involved to get the word out. And then I'll just expand that, and then we expanded into the schools, which was a whole nother something after George started it that we added on, and that became just huge because as we all know, kids have big mouths and they like to talk, and they go home and they spread the word. So part of my thing that I say at the schools is to all the kids that, my hope is that everybody participates, and Like at the end of the campaign, we'd like everyone to raise their hand and say, I participated. And and I understand that not everyone can give food, but everyone can talk about it and everyone can spread the word about it and understand it and have empathy for the people. And so whether it's talking about it or making a cash donation or making a food donation, all of it matters and all of it helps.
In year one, just one food shelf was being helped. This year, it's 9. What happened?
Well, like George said, I think the need just grew, and that's unfortunate, but it's the reality, and that is why we need as many people as possible to participate and help with this cause.
So, from both of your standpoints, how does this all work? Yes, we can talk on TV or on the radio or in the newspaper saying, yes, we need food, we need cash. How does it come in? How does it get distributed?
Well, one of the most gratifying things about Project Feed the Thousands is that almost everybody can be involved. As Kelly mentioned, we have K through 12 students, businesses, and individuals. I've always said that we would easily meet and surpass our food goals if every time somebody went to the grocery store that they just picked up one non-perishable food item and dropped it in the bins. And that's really the key, is the opportunity for almost everyone in the community to have a part. So dropping non-perishable food items where you shop is one aspect, and then the other aspect is we have cash boxes at various businesses, or you can send a check to Project Feed the Thousands, care of River Valley Credit Union, and then later on we're able to use that money to buy food through the Vermont Food Bank.
Now, all of this, even though the campaign has just begun, all of this got going about a month ago?
Yeah, we do something called a business blitz, and so we grab as many people as we can to be part of it. And what they do is they try to go out to as many businesses in the area as they can and try to get them to participate in some level. And so we have just a variety of things that businesses are doing. Some will be sending in a check, some are doing employee drives, some are printing materials for us. So there's just a variety of things. Some are just hanging a poster or hanging a banner because they're in a really great spot for that. So that was another added something that we've done to try to just to get everybody involved and again to get the word out and have everybody help in some way.
Now, as I understand, there's even a brand new idea that's taking shape this year. It's something to do with hats.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to do something, and we're in the process of still building it, but it's going to be Hats for Hunger. And it's going to be December 7th, and we're trying to make it a community-wide event where businesses, across all these areas could do a donation to wear a hat, meaning just like the jeans kind of day you might have seen in businesses. So we're asking everyone to wear fun, crazy hats, make a donation to Project Feed that day. And just like the hope would be any business you walk in, you'll see all these crazy fun hats and ideas and take a lot of pictures, and all at the same time raising food and money for Project Feed.
So whatever you do, no matter how simple or how wacky it may be, the goal is still to raise awareness, raise food, and raise cash.
Exactly.
Now, what are this year's goals?
This year's goals is $80,000 in cash and 200,000 meals.
It's interesting. I know in some past years the goal had been higher, but we need to mention a longtime partner that is no longer taking part.
Yeah, the Entergy Vermont Yankee was a major contributor. They certainly got on board when Larry Smith was working there. And then when Larry left, I think he negotiated an exit plan that meant that Entergy would continue to contribute for a number of years to Project Feed the Thousands. Now, just to give you an idea, when they were contributing, at a higher level, they were contributing about $35,000 a year. And then they gradually worked that number down to last year where they contributed $10,000. So as you mentioned, Tim, the goal seems to be less. In other words, last year's goal was $85,000, and we almost hit that goal. We were $84,700 or somewhere in that vicinity. So but that included the Entergy $10,000 contribution. So in some ways, if you look at that and you say, okay, well, without that, then we would probably raise 75. We've actually stretched the goal up to 85 or 80,000 this year. But we're also hoping that we can reverse that trend, and while we have a goal of 80,000, if we can involve more businesses, more people in the community, more people maybe just contributing a little bit more, recognizing that that large donor is no longer there, and that we need a number of businesses and people to kind of pick up that slack and to make that that dollar amount to a larger figure. I think we can make the $80,000 goal. I think at some year in the future, we'd like to get the goal back to $100,000, which is about the amount of money in cash that we've received and raised in the past.
One of the things that is impressive is that when you make a food donation or you make a cash donation, if it comes from a certain community and you have a participating program in that community, it gets back there. You're helping your neighbors.
Yeah, yeah, and a good point to make about that is, so this organization is 100% every penny that we get buys food or non-perishable items. So there's no organizational expense, there's no salaries or administrative fees, and we made sure of that, and it's important to us. So when there's stuff that we need, like if you see banners around town or you see posters, those are all donated by different businesses because we don't touch any of the money at all. All the money goes to buy food and non-perishable.
Yeah, I think not only is that an important point, but the fact that if you think about the number of people that Project Feed the Thousand serves, and if you're thinking about donating to a charity, because Project Feed the Thousands is a 501c3, what better return can you get on your investment in this community? All the money stays here. We probably help in the vicinity of 15 to 20,000 people collectively with those 9 food shelves. And where can you get a better return? What other charitable organization in this community serves that many people? I think it's. I think you really have to think about that.
Excellent point, and just as well, anybody can contribute at any level that they're able to, even if it's just spreading the word.
Exactly.
Yeah, as Kelly's mentioned, and I think it's so important. Our goal is that everyone in the community can participate in some way, and as Kelly said, even if you can't contribute, maybe you're a user of the food shelf, but you can talk about it. So everybody can have a part. We certainly are encouraging people to contribute food and dollars, but more importantly, can everybody in the community have a part in Project Feed the Thousand, supporting it in some way?
And of course, you can make a contribution at many of the area stores where you shop, either cash or food. You can even send a check to River Valley Credit Union, earmarked for Project Feed the Thousands, or go online, projectfeedthethousands.org. Kelly Corbeil, George Haynes, thank you. And coming up, we will be talking with representatives from one of the largest food programs supported by Project Feed the Thousands, and also one of the area stores which contributes so heartily to the giving of food, as we discuss Year 25 of Project Feed the Thousands. We are joined now by a representative of the largest food program being supported by Project Feed the Thousands, and a representative of one of the many, many markets that help with food donations and are a big partner with Project Feed. Elizabeth Bennett is the Development Director for the Groundworks Collaborative in Brattleboro, and John Megas Russell is the Marketing Manager at the Brattleboro Food Co-op. Thank you both. And Libby, you started off in all of this by being with Morningside Shelter, and then Morningside merged with the Brattleboro Drop-In Center to become Groundworks. What's happening now in terms of the different kinds of people you support with the food and the money collected through Project Feed?
Well, we certainly rely a lot on the Project Feed funds that come in each year. Last year, we received over $68,000 in monetary contributions and well over 100 meals worth of donated food. We are serving more and more people all the time. The drop-in center used to have a very small food shelf that probably this desk would be about all you could fit in that room at that time, and we've since moved it out to the garage. So we're in 2 bays of a 2-bay garage, 1 bay being storage space and the other being the space where folks can come in and shop the food shelf. So we're serving, just that move alone allowed us to serve 4 families at a time as opposed to 1 family could shop at a time back before the merger. So there's certainly been a lot of growth in the food shelf. In 2017, we served just about 4,000 people in the food shelf, and we gave away just about 400,000 pounds of food that year as well.
That is a pretty high number even for Brattleboro, Vermont. How come?
Well, when you look at the statistics, even the census data, which is now from 2010, we know that we're not even serving all of the potentially hungry people in Windham County. So our numbers have grown, but we know that there's still a number of people who maybe are timid about coming in to receive help. We see that a lot, that there's often a sort of attitude that someone else needs it more than I do. So we know that we're not even meeting the entire need in our community.
Are they timid, or are other issues like transportation a problem?
That is entirely possible. I think that, while we are on the bus route, it doesn't necessarily mean that the bus is getting to the people where they live to bring them into town. And so there's definitely a challenge of transportation, in all sort of needs assessments that happen throughout the community. Often transportation rises to the top of the list in terms of the number of challenges that people face.
It's interesting that your numbers have risen even with the number of food programs being supported by
Sure.
Project Feed rising.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, what we tend to realize is that a lot of the outlying food shelves, and they do incredible work, are open maybe 1 day a week or maybe 2 days a week. At Groundworks, we're open 3, and the food shelf in particular is open 3.5 days a week. It's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then Tuesday afternoons for seniors only. There was a program in town that closed a few years ago, and they had a Tuesday afternoon for seniors program, and when that closed, Groundworks took on that time as well.
So this year, the programs being supported are not only Groundworks, but Loaves and Fishes and Bridget's Kitchen food programs in Brattleboro.
That's wonderful.
Each serve a noontime meal a couple of days a week. Then you go to the outlying areas, you have the Townsend Food Shelf, Guilford Food Shelf, Putney Food Shelf, Our Place in Bellows Falls, the Hinsdale Food Program, and one that I'm very proud of, recently opened in Vernon, the Bread of Life Food Shelf. Now,
It's
I want to share the
wonderful.
story about how this all came about. About a year ago, as many people know, part of my life these days is I work as the town clerk in Vernon, and I was hearing from people at Guilford Cares that there were a lot of Vernon people coming to get food from their food shelf, and they wondered why we didn't have a program. Well, being the loudmouth that I am, I started the discussion, and it turned out that this wasn't something that government was in a position to do, but the Advent Christian Church had started something small for their members, and they decided to expand in the last year. And they became a Vermont Food Bank member.
Great.
And they also joined in on Project Feed the Thousands. They're open twice a month for an hour and a half, second and fourth Wednesdays. And they are seeing 15 to 20 people each time they're open. In that time, everybody with families, you do the multiplier, just that little amount of time, you're probably helping 50 people.
Right, yeah. It's incredible how many people need the help, and how many people we're able to serve on the, I think that last year probably the food shelf was probably about 13% of our overall budget at Groundworks, but it's definitely the most impactful program in terms of the numbers, the volume of people that we serve through that program.
Now, some of the debate I've heard over the years would center on, we'll give them any food's better than none at all, but what about the nutritional value of the food being handed out?
We've worked really hard over the last several years to increase the quality of the food that we bring into the food shelf. Of course, we always have donations. We're lucky that we have CNS in this community, and sometimes a truckload of chicken nuggets or something will appear on our doorstep. There's a damaged case or several damaged cases, and they can't sell them in the store. We get any number of things donated, but in terms of the food that we are going to purchase, for instance, with the money that raised by Project Feed, we purchase high quality proteins, quality nutritious foods for the food shelf.
And we do need to really thank CNS for stepping up, not only in food donations, but they do a lot of the printing for a lot of the brochures and posters for Project Feed the Thousands as well.
They do a beautiful job. It's such a wonderful service that they offer. Not only the food donations, the monetary donations, but the printing is always really lovely as well.
And it's great as well that we have this great relationship with the Vermont Food Bank. How does Groundworks interrelate with the Vermont Food Bank?
Thank you for asking. I think that this is a point of confusion for a lot of people in the community. We purchase the food that we distribute in the food shelf. Most of it we purchase from the Vermont Food Bank. So we spend about $5,200 a month there typically to purchase, by the pallet or major quantities of foods that they sell to us at far below cost, far below what you would pay for those foods in the grocery store.
Well, let me get this straight.
Sure.
You purchase from the food bank. Don't they get donations?
They do, and on occasion we can get donated food from the food bank as well. So when they have broken cases and things that they would not be able to sell to us in a bulk quantity, sometimes they'll put together a box of what they call salvage, and we get that food for free.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, John Magus Russell, I want to bring you into the conversation here. And Brattleboro Food Co-op has been a great partner over the years. You have been very active with Project Feed the Thousands, both from the co-op point of view and from your previous position you were at here in the community. How important is it for people who work in food to make sure that people don't go hungry?
As a grocery store, first and foremost, we want to provide food to people in our neighborhood. Being a downtown anchor and knowing that that's important to us, we always want to donate food, especially being in very close proximity to Groundworks and the food shelf. So for us, it's a no-brainer. We've been trying to move more dollars towards food security, more donations, partnering more around PR and things that we can do to support anything that aligns with us, which is mostly food at the end of the day. We are a grocery store. We do have a lot of high quality stuff, but most important goal is to be a good community member.
The interesting thing that grocery stores should remember is that if people come to your store and shop and then make a donation based upon the shopping, that actually increases the amount of product that you're moving.
There's no question we definitely win when people buy food for Groundworks or any other food shelf. We have a little cart in the front that we stock by our ATM, and we're constantly rolling it up to Groundworks and to the food shelf because there's always food. So yeah, we do win, but in the end, it's really about our neighbors.
And it's interesting that both the Brattleboro Food Co-op and your division called Dottie's, which I've always known it as the scratch and dent version of the Brattleboro Food Co-op. Both are very, very active with Project Feed the Thousands. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we absolutely love Dottie's. We'll have a food basket there as well to collect. And something we love about them is the access that store provides. Brings in a wider audience of folks. It meets the needs of a low-priced item while still nutritional. So Dottie's is a great place to shop for Project Feed, or generally people don't even know that it's part of the co-op at times. Mm-hmm. So we feel like it honors a part of our town that needs it.
Now, something the Brattleboro Food Co-op does that people may not realize, you do some cooking classes and a lot of education.
Yeah, we offer a lot of free kids classes. We're actually partnering with NECA at our annual meeting coming up. Lizzie Rosenberg visits almost all the schools in the region, as well as hosts free classes for kids. Each month she partners with the museum, and the point is to bring in children to learn about food and nutrition at no cost. If kids learn at an early age, we hope that they'll carry that through life. And we believe food is medicine, and if they learn at 3 about that, they'll have a better quality of life potentially.
Thank you for saying that food is medicine, because we can't stress that enough, especially when some of the answers to what ails us may be what we eat.
Sure.
And as well, with a lot of the food out there, do many people know how to even prepare it? And how can the food co-op programs like Groundworks help in learning how to prepare some of this food so it'll stay high quality?
Yeah, we've tried to partner a few times. At one point we did offer recipes and tastings at the food shelf. I think we're going to get back involved with the Learning Kitchen, which is a statewide initiative to support people learning for free how to prepare foods, how to shop in bulk at a very cheap price, what things may be more nutritious than others. And so, yes, we're always trying to give people more preparation. However, people love convenience. It's trending in that direction. So even small meal kits and things that are just, you have to heat them is where we're going in a lot of ways.
And trying to balance quality against price, really, there's no contest, because quality really trumps price every time.
Oh, there's no question. I think even myself, I try to prioritize certain items that cost more, and others I'll shop cheap. And that's one thing we are always working on is choice and a selection that meets all people's needs.
And what would you say, both of you, to someone who's thinking about making a donation to Project Feed the Thousands? Is this really going to count in someone's life?
Oh, definitely. I would say absolutely. I was saying earlier, we do spend money to purchase the food to keep the shelves stocked for the items that we need when we need them. But whether donating food or monetary donations to Project Feed, it really has a big impact for Groundworks as a major part of our food shelf budget overall. Because of the way that we leverage donations and pick up any salvageable food we can from local grocery stores and convenience stores, we can really feed a lot of people with a little bit of money. It's a really impactful program for us, definitely.
John?
Yeah, I always say that if we all pitch in just a little bit, even $1, I think the community comes together. We can meet the goals and the needs. We'd rather see a surplus, but if you're going to buy a can of beans, buy another one, no matter what grocery store you're at. And it all helps, I agree. I mean, we are very fortunate people, and to give a little bit back here and there, it makes a lot.
Well, I've been involved in this effort for 23 of the 25 years that Project Feed the Thousands has been going, and I've just come to the conclusion that you either are hungry or you need to help people get the food they need. There's no in between. ProjectFeedTheThousands.org is how you can find them on the internet. Make a food contribution or a cash contribution where you shop, or send a check in care of Project Feed to River Valley Credit Union in Brattleboro. Our thanks to Elizabeth Bennett as well as John Megas Russell. Earlier we spoke with Kelly Corbeil and also with George Haynes. Project Feed the Thousands is underway. It's up to all of us to make this a success. This is Tim Johnson. Thank you for watching.